Well, welcome everyone to our podcast today. And I'm really excited to have Steve Sammartino on the podcast today. Steve is a futurist, author, TED Talk speaker, and TV host of The Rebound on Channel 9. He's the co-founder of Macro 3D, AI and robotics expert. Now, we've actually had Steve in the past, actually, at our Byte Business Conference. So I'm really excited to have him back on board and interview here now today on our podcast. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you for having me.
So maybe do you want to give us a bit more about your background, Steve, and introduce yourself to everyone that's listening today?
Yeah, I was a nerd really at a young age. I was into computers at the age of 10, writing code. My favorite TV show then was called Whiz Kids, which was
Oh, I
an
remember with
American
kids.
TV
Yes,
show where kids would solve world problems with computers. Now kids with computers create world problems. I'm joking.
they probably
Well,
solve some, but create a lot more.
Well, it's
Hey,
it's a
yes.
powerful tool, and all powerful tools can be used for good or evil. I'm on the good side of it. Worked in large corporations for many years, had a number of startups as well, which I've built and sold. My latest is Macro 3D, where we 3D print houses and build robots.
Wow.
And I've been sharing my ideas around the world for 10 years now, doing a lot of keynote speeches, but always making sure I've got dirt under my fingernails, using the tech, inventing the tech, and then sharing what I learn.
Excellent. So you've had a lot of hands-on experience with small businesses. What lessons have you learned that are relevant for today for small business?
If I could give one piece of advice on small business, it's this: move fast. The big don't always eat the small, but the fast always eat the slow.
That is very, very true. A lot of the big organizations can take quite a while to get things approved and all of the levels, which is something that's really good about small business, that you can be quite nimble and move quickly with those if, with everything that's going on at the moment. So how are these kind of, I guess, lessons moving into opportunities for businesses navigating the AI revolution? Because I imagine a lot of small businesses saying, how do I do that? What do I do? I'm too busy trying to do my business.
That's right. The first thing I'd say is the AI revolution and generative AI. Most large corporations, and I work with Fortune top 20 companies around the world, the large majority of them are still grappling on what their policies are about using AI. And here we have the most powerful tool ever invented, and big corporations are having meetings after meetings, worrying about things which are relevant to big corporations. We don't have that worry as a small business.
Mm.
Get on the generative AI tools, start experimenting and using them, and you're going to find paths where you can be more efficient. And like anything in life, you have to invest the time. We've all got 24 hours a day. Find half an hour to muck around with the tools, and then you're going to save yourself hours going forward, whether it's communications, advertising, podcasting, efficiency, invoicing, all of those things. Big companies, they move slow on AI. Move fast, get ahead of the game, because you don't have to have 100 meetings and approvals to get it done.
Yeah, and what's interesting about AI, and if I look at what we're doing at Smart Business Solutions, being an accounting practice, I know when ChatGPT first came out, I actually thought I might just skip this little phase. It's only going to be it's going to be a phase. Within about 2 weeks, I thought, no, I better pay attention to this and I better embrace it and jump onto it. And if we fast forward, I've just had, even last week, we had I called it robot training, but we had someone
Nice.
out from Singapore to kind of really teach us how to kind of implement robots. And I've got my team now actually creating robots to automate different parts of the business, which is just incredible. So it's about thinking, kind of taking that step and actually making them think of what's possible. Now, I hoped with the training they'd come out of it and think, okay, here's what's possible, but I wasn't actually expecting them to be able to do it as much. But they're actually implementing it. And people are going, maybe I can automate that email that I send. Maybe I can automate taking data from one spot to another. So I think small businesses really need to think about doing that. What are some of the challenges and opportunities you've seen with small businesses embracing the technology? What's kind of limiting them? What may be some of those opportunities?
The biggest limitation is fear.
Mhm.
And that's always the case with new technology. But here's the good news: with generative AI, if you can talk, you can do it. And I'm not mincing my words here, because what has happened is we've finally taught computers to speak our language. So computers speak English or your preferred language. If you can type or you can talk, you can do it. And we have to get good at talking to computers. We call it prompt engineering, but it's really just understanding how to extract the information from the computer. Now, the number one thing we need to remember is that you just go on and ask it what you want it to do. And it'll tell you, I can do that or I can't do that.
Mm.
But the reality is, it can do most things. And if it can't do it, you can teach it how to do it. So the internet just became a giant brain, but it's a brain that needs to be influenced, cajoled, and told what to do. It can do anything, but the missing ingredient is you. The missing ingredient is your ideas and asking it to build things for you. And it can automate pretty much anything you want it to and actually teach you how to implement it, not just the idea, but it can say, here's how I'd implement it, here's how I'd do it. And that's really extraordinary. That means that you've just got all of these powers. Like, you're an AI developer now. If
Mm.
you can talk, that's the only skill you need. Can you talk? Yes. Okay, congratulations. You're the world's newest AI developer.
And, you've called AI as the most important tech revolution yet. Why do you think that's the case? Why do you think this is going to be such a big impact on small business and just the world, I guess you could say, as a revolution?
The reason is that AI is the world's first learning organism. It
Mm.
actually behaves a lot like biology in that it isn't a fixed quantity. The AI doesn't just spit out something that it's learned previously or follow a set of instructions. It actually can generate. That's why we use the word generative. So all of a sudden, we've got an AI which learns based on the more interactions you have. And it's a lot like a kid, but this kid is a genius with a PhD in every single subject. And
And
so
doesn't
what
get
that
the app.
means, yeah, that's right. And so what that means is that the AI is recursive. It gets better and better and improves upon itself. That's why this is the biggest revolution we've ever had and bigger than all the other previous technology revolutions: internet, smartphone, social media, TV, because it actually has this self-growth component built into it.
And it's interesting that when we look at the economy that we're all facing at the moment, and it's not the greatest economy out there, and everyone's avoiding the R word of recession, but I think the reality is
Mm.
we're kind of there. I know, living through the '90s recession and coming through there, we were able to manage inflation because all of a sudden things were offshored. All of our manufacturing offshored.
Mm.
You know, 2 years back before we had the Chat GPT coming out, I was trying to work out how can we actually get these efficiencies. This is AI is now where we're going to get these efficiencies and this productivity gain to enable us from an economic perspective even to progress forward, because I can see so many things you can do now on AI. The efficiency part of it has been, has really increased what people can output.
Yeah. One of the shifts that I don't think many people see coming is, I'm going to call it a period of deglobalization.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean that we don't trade globally. Of course we will. But a lot of manufacturing and production will come back to high cost labor markets like the US, the UK, and Australia, because
Okay.
AI and robotics removes the advantage of low cost labor markets. We're going
Mm.
to see significant economic growth with reshoring,
Yeah.
instead of offshoring,
Mm.
and rebuilding out infrastructures, because so many things can be automated now, which means that they can come back here, which means we can use our raw materials. We don't have to pay costs of distribution and shipping. We can get things quicker. And that's going to be a real economic advantage. And I think that countries that understand and push for this will do a lot better. America's really moving that way.
I
Apple is
guess actually
opening
I
up.
think
Yeah.
Trump's pushing for that, isn't he, to
Well,
bring
he is, and look,
back
and I'm
on,
I'm I'm going to come out and say I'm no Trump fan. I'm an economist, and I sort of don't have a political party or team. But the idea of putting things back into home markets to reduce geopolitical risk and improve local production and supply chain and get things quicker and cheaper to home markets is where things are going to go. And big companies are responding.
But if they're
Apple
responding
is
slowly,
yeah.
I think this is the opportunity for small business, isn't it?
Yeah. So look, I was just going to use the example of Apple
Mm.
is returning some manufacturing to the USA.
Oh,
But
really? Wow.
yeah, so this is one of the things that small businesses can do. And I remember growing up, We had lots of local small manufacturing enclaves in and around, let's say, in the Melbourne areas, in the
Mm.
Brunswicks and the Footscrays and all of these places, and Port Melbourne. All of that stuff is actually going to come back. Now, it might be on some of the fringe areas like around the Mornington Peninsula and Geelong and Ballarat, but we're going to bring back a lot of local manufacturing in these small factories where we can have robots manufacture, consumer products, electronics, all of those things. And it's absolutely possible and it will happen.
It's interesting you say that. I was actually out at a market gardeners on the Mornington Peninsula who's implemented a lot of robots, and they literally they supply literally 80% of the lettuce to Woolworths, and literally all of it was robots. There were 4 people in the actual kind of, I guess you could say, the factory, if you call it that.
Yeah.
Um, the rest of us done all by robots, which was just amazing to see, what can be produced from that technology, which they've only had it for about 6 months.
Yeah, and one of the big things with robotics that's going to happen, I think that'll change a lot, is humanoid robots. This is robots that look like a human with our same sort of body shape, bipedal robots, and they're becoming really, really cheap. They're
Right.
around 100,000 to 200,000 now. The cool thing about them is that they have large language models installed inside them, a little bit like ChatGPT. In fact, OpenAI, who owns ChatGPT,
Mm.
are doing a robot called the Figure One or the Figure Three robot with NVIDIA, and it walks around as a human robot. And
Oh,
the way
wow.
you teach it is by talking to it and telling it and showing it what to do, like the same way you'd teach your kid. So if you've
Mm.
got naughty kids, you're going to have naughty robots. And I think the thing that we're going to have is humanoid robots wandering around the world, up to 1 billion of them within the next 10 years. And we'll all have personal robots doing work for us, doing housework, doing all of those things.
That's the robot I want, is the house
Yeah,
the
exactly. Well, the
housework.
Jetsons has
Yep.
finally arrived, and I
Yes.
think we all want that.
Mm.
And we need humanoid robots because we've got a human-shaped world.
Yeah.
And so everything is built for humans. And having our own robot where we have our own ethics and our own ideas ensconced inside it, we get the chance to shape the world. And these robots will cost less than a small car.
Mm.
So all of a sudden, small businesses go, yeah, like they would buy a company car. Then go, I'm going to buy this robot that's going to help me doing my warehousing or stocking my shelves or whatever it may be. And this is really exciting. This stuff is coming by the end of this decade because
Mm.
things aren't changing at the same pace. They're exponentially changing and they're changing quicker than ever.
So what excites you the most about the future of AI?
The thing that excites me the most is that you don't need to get a new set of skills to participate in this revolution.
Mm.
Everything you already know, your personal database, your brain, your ideas, that is the thing that generates new and interesting concepts because we add the raw intelligence and capability of AI to our personal database, life experience, thoughts, value systems, ethics, and we put that inside the AI and we get something unique to us because we're putting us inside the machine to get a new outcome.
Mm.
I like that because our values are in there. And I like it because we can create the world that we want to live in by attaching ourselves and what we believe in the business we're trying to run with the powers of the AI, which are democratized and available to everyone.
And so if there was one book or resource that you think every entrepreneur should read, what would that be?
It would absolutely 100% be my blog, stevesammartino.com. You've got to sign up. I put out a weekly AI message. But in all seriousness, if there was look a book that I think is really life changing, I would say *Sapiens* by Harari is an incredible book because it helps you understand human nature.
Mm.
And I think that is the most important thing for business because at the end of the day, we're dealing with humans. And
Mm.
while the technology might change around us, the one thing that never changes is basic human needs.
Yes. Yeah. And what would be then also the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received is what would you do if you weren't scared?
Mm.
Because I think fear is what stops us from chasing our dreams. I
Yes.
think fear of what people think, fear of going broke, fear of what if I don't understand the technology? So, what would you do if you weren't scared?
Yeah.
And that's
And
what you should do.
And a technology trend. So as I said to you before, when I first heard about ChatGPT, I thought, oh, what is this? I'm going to skip this little thing that's come out. Think it's just going to be a little phase for a small period. Luckily, I got back on board within 2 weeks. But what technology trend do you think is overhyped?
Oh, the metaverse. Yeah, the metaverse from Zuckerberg and the idea that we're all going to live in some virtual space
Mm,
and put on goggles and walk around in a virtual world with half bodies. I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, I'll clarify that by saying, will we have virtual reality? Absolutely. It's a
mm,
great way to train pilots and surgeons. Will we have mixed reality? Which Google Maps is like a mixed reality where it sort of has live views of where you're driving and helps augment what you're doing and heads up displays that give you information about the real world. Yeah, we'll have them. But
mm.
are we going to like put on a suit and live in this fake world designed by Mark Zuckerberg? No, absolutely not. And the metaverse, if you read any articles on it, you'll see that that is true. It's just totally overhyped, and I don't think humans want to live that way.
Mm.
And despite the powers of digital tools, if we can learn anything by the slow food movement, it's that we live in a physical world and we like physical things.
Yeah.
It's
And
the
I think
same reason we grow vegetables and want coffee made by our barista. We can get a machine to do it better already, but we don't
we
because
don't
we want to
exactly.
look at humans in the eye and we want to interact in a physical world. So for me, that's the most overhyped technology.
Yeah, there's been a lot of focus on the technology side of it, but ultimately it is going to come back, and I see that in our space in finance, back to the client service, back to that human interaction. So we need to automate, we need to get these technologies in place, but there's always that fear people have of jobs going because of technology. But I think it's really that readapting to it and keeping that client focused.
It's quite an unfounded fear.
Mm,
Uh, 200 years ago, before the Industrial Revolution, 90% of humans worked in food production. Now it's about 3%.
mm,
Right? We all, oh, what are we going to do? We thought there's not going to be anything left to do for humans. But I think that automation is about automating things that we would do staring at a screen so we can spend more time with each other.
mm. And what do you think the new roles are going to be? What are those new jobs going to be that you think if we've had in the past such a high percentage, they've now a low percentage in food? What other areas and looking at small business, what other areas can small business be kind of they might automate and devote their time to something else? You know.
So I think that administration, marketing, all of those pieces of the puzzle, parts of the finance equation, all of that screen stuff is largely going to be automated. I don't know exactly what tomorrow's jobs are. I mean, I can list a few crazy ones. Robot ethicist is one, for example, right? And it sounds like a crazy job, but that's something that exists. A prompt engineer is a new job that exists where large corporations have people working on how to extract information from AIs. Here's what I know for sure: the highest paid jobs of the future
Mm,
are going to be things that an AI can do better than a human, but we will pay more for a human doing it.
mm,
Let me give you an example. Taylor Swift. I can listen to the perfect version of her songs on Spotify for free, but I can't get a ticket to see her at the MCG to see an imperfect version of her breathing heavily into a microphone while dancing and sweating and, having to peer my head around a pylon so I can actually see her on the stage. That's because the human element is beautiful.
mm,
Humans want to see humans doing things. And there's so many businesses already where machines can do it better than a human. But
mm,
we want to see the human. The 100-meter sprint at the Olympics, the preeminent event. I can beat Usain Bolt on a bicycle. But we
mm.
don't want to see that. That's a machine. We want to see who can run the fastest. Personal services, highly personalized. That'll be the premium product of the future, not the handbag.
It's interesting. You do see technology around the hairdresser. I don't know if you've seen that going around on some of the socials where you put your head inside something and it cuts your hair and does a perfect job. But no, I don't know if anyone's going to be game to do that. They'll be going along to their hairdresser to get their hair cut.
Well, I think when I go to the hairdresser, I like to have a little chat and a coffee, and the
Mm,
fact that they make me one, and I,
yes,
I like that.
I like it.
I go to
Yes.
this really cool barber shop, and
Yeah.
They wash my hair and I get the massage. And if a robot could do it better, I want someone to do it. I think we love being pampered by people, and I like pampering people. We do it to our family and our kids. But one that is interesting is robotic surgery. I
Mm,
think 15 years from now, you'll say to someone, "Oh, I'm getting that surgery done next week by the robot, the Da Vinci robot, let's say."
mm.
And your friend will say, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, good thing you're not getting it done by a human."
In case they get it
Yeah,
wrong.
you would be crazy to say, "You crazy? I'm not getting it done by a human. I want to get it done because the robot can do billions of simulations of that surgery.
Mm,
A surgeon might do 1,000 operations in their entire life,
yeah.
right? So there'll be some things where we go, yeah, absolutely robot, and some things where we say, I know a robot can do it, but I want the human version.
Mm.
That exploration is what the future is about. And what we need is an open mind to see these opportunities and seize them, because there will be new jobs, new industries emerge, and we just need imaginations. More than that, though, we need to be nimble and say, oh, wow, here it is, and just get on it real quick,
I
moving
think
fast.
that's even starting with being able to use, the different AI tools that are available within your business, whether it's looking at marketing, as you touched, or even some administration. I can see our efficiencies in finance is
Mm.
just starting to use it. And the more you use it, the better you get. And all of a sudden, you find yourself kind of, pacing up on that and really gaining some efficiencies.
And this is a really good point you make on the efficiency. I use a couple of tools that have saved me a heap of time.
Mm,
For when I do podcasts and interviews and videos, I have an automated AI service which cuts out clips
mm,
for a half an hour or an hour of a podcast called clap.ai, KLAPP.ai. And that will just create all these little shorts of the best bits. It can just tell
oh,
by language, and it puts up little emojis and it does the captions, and it looks great. And they used to take me 2 hours to do one of those, or 3 hours, and now it's done. I actually set it up, walk off, get a coffee, come back, and they're all there, and then I
well done.
post them.
Yeah.
So if you can see any of my clips on my social media or LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok, they're done by Clap AI
Hey,
now,
I'll be
which
looking
is,
into that ourselves.
well, there you go. No, it's a great one.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to upload this chat we've had, and
Mm,
it'll pick out little chunks, and it even chooses me when I'm speaking, then flips to you and back and forth. It does all the editing for you.
mm,
And what's cool about that is that even if you paid someone else to do it, now that's freed up that money. And the truth of it is, jobs do change and some go away, and we need to be mature and adult about that. And all of us have had to change our careers over time. But when the costs come down in something, that money gets freed up that we can reinvest in another area. And
mm.
that's what efficiency is. Years ago, we'd pay $30 for a CD with 10 songs,
Yes.
right? And that's all you get.
Mm,
And now I can pay $10 a month and get every song ever written.
mm.
So that $30 on one CD is now freed up for me to spend on different things. Maybe it's data or apps or mobile phone subscription. That's where new industries come from. And AI will repeat that process again.
Mm. And it's great timing because we really needed something to bring back that productivity, to improve that productivity just across the not only Australia, actually the globe. You're hearing that same challenge that has been there as well. And what is you've mentioned about Clap? Is there another emerging AI tool that you think every business should give a try? We've all heard of ChatGPT. Now you've talked about Clap. What else have you got out there that you've seen that we should all maybe give a try?
I'll give you two really interesting AIs. One's called Hey Gen, GEN,
Hmm.
and that is a tool where you record yourself talking to the camera,
Mm,
and it can create fake videos. So it'll give you a script and you'll just talk for 2 or 3 minutes, and it copies your voice and your face. And then you can give it a script to create a video of you saying something that you didn't do. Now, this can be really useful for employee updates if you haven't got time to do a recording or any of these things. And it's quite a handy tool, but it
mm.
actually just shows how powerful AI has become. And even creating a fake video is available to anyone for free. So that's a really interesting tool.
And I think we saw a lot of that with the US elections, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, well, this is the thing. You talk about person to person experience. unless you're in the room, do you really know if it happened?
Did it really happen?
I
Yes.
don't know. Did it happen? Am I really here? I mean,
Yeah.
this is just an AI bot of me. I'm actually in bed just snoozing. Okay, you think it's Steve Sammartino, but I'm not really here.
But the AI is reacting to all of my questions, and we're
Exactly. It's doing such a
through.
terrific
Yeah.
job. It even feels and sounds like me. Another really good one that I think listeners will like is Agent GPT.
Mm.
Now, agents, which will emerge next year from OpenAI and Gemini and Anthropic and all of these other companies, AIs which don't just answer a question or do something. You set them an objective, and then they ask their own questions and then answer their questions and subsequent questions until they get closer to the objective.
Wow.
So you could for um, half an hour, uh, let's say, get it to plan a holiday for you,
Mm.
plan a holiday to Hawaii, and it'll go and it'll just start. You give it a few objectives and it'll come back with a plan.
Yeah.
Say, give me in half an hour a plan what to do for a holiday in Hawaii. Or you could say, write me a report on the impact of AI for running my small chain of health and wellness spas.
Mm.
To so it's not just a simple question. It
You can
actually
train it up.
does, yeah, it breaks things up. If you're courageous enough, and I wouldn't recommend this, you can give it your credit card and it'll go and buy things and do things on your behalf and organize stuff. But next year, we're going to see all of these launch. They're called agents, and
Mm.
agents will be like personal AI assistants which understand the way you think and what you do. And you just say, today's task is to do X, or I want you to do this week. And in the background, it goes off and does it.
It's incredible. It's actually, it's mind-boggling what's going on. But before we wrap up, I do have some exciting news to share with our listeners. So Steve Sammartino is going to be joining us as a keynote speaker at the upcoming Byte Business Conference. The Byte Conference is back. It's going to take place on the 6th of May, 2025 at the beautiful Mornington Racecourse. Steve, we're really thrilled to have you in the lineup for this event. Can you give us a little preview of what attendees can expect from your keynote?
First of all, you're going to walk away excited, motivated with an I can do this. Oh my God, I didn't know it was this easy. You've just changed everything. All right. Don't want to overpromise, but I think it's going to be great. And I'm going to talk about how we got to now. Remind everyone of how fast technology has moved, and it's going to move faster. I'm going to show people key hacks, and some of them I don't even know what they are yet because they're going to change between now and then, but it's going to be right up to the minute on the latest tools that you can use and how to leverage them, how AI is changing business models, and how to see around corners and see the changes and what's coming, and then how to balance a world of humanity and AI so that we maximize humanity and maximize efficiency at the same time. So it's going to be a little bit of a story on how we got to now. Here's the new tools and the new world. Here's the latest hacks. And here's how you balance out the tech and the humanity so that we can have a profitable future, but one that we want to live in, which puts humans first.
That sounds amazing, and I think that's going to be a great way for next year, getting us all into the year for our business. So for those listeners who haven't maybe attended Byte Business Conference, it is a must-attend event for anyone looking to grow their business, embrace innovation, and connect with like-minded professionals. It's all for small business, and we're going to have a real focus around AI and technology because this change is going through all of our businesses. So you can find details on the agenda, keynote speakers, and tickets at byteconference.com.au. So BITE conference.com.au. Any comments on you, Steve? And then I'll close it up. Is that
No.
all good?
Yep.
Yeah. So some of the key takeaways from this discussion, well, you've got me excited on a few tools that I'm going to actually try out. This clap, we're going to get that going as well. But what's next for you, and where can the listeners follow your work?
Yeah, so this year I'm really focusing on AI's impact on society. I'm doing a couple of documentaries on that, which will be exciting. I'm focusing on macro 3D. We want to build low-cost houses. So we've got the robots which can 3D print houses, and we're looking at automated construction on 3D printed houses, and just sharing what I'm learning about AI and robotics on the stage. So it's in some ways, more of the same with a couple of new projects put in, which will give me new learnings.
Yeah.
So AI and robotics overlapped with sharing those ideas around the world. So that's my focus. And the places to find me, really simple. Just Google Steve Sammartino. I love everyone to say hello on LinkedIn. And if you can sign up to my email on stevesammartino.com, sign up, say hello. You can find my email there. If you've got a question, ask me.
Yeah.
Ask me. I answer everyone within 24 hours. And I think you would be surprised. People go, wow, I can't believe you answered. It's like, well, if people take the time to reach out, I'm going to take the time to create some value.
Mm. Yeah. And lots of little gold nuggets that you're sharing every day on the technology and how things have changed. So thanks very much for joining us on the podcast. Listeners, stay tuned for future episodes and follow the update on the Business Byte Business Conference, and also head out to Steve's website and sign up so that you can get some updates on the AI innovation and everything that's going on in our world at the moment. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed the chat.